So far, Alfa Romeo's return to the US has played out like a pop star's entrance onto the scene. First came the flashy singles meant to garner lots of attention, in this case, the exotic 8C supercar, the 4C sports car, and the 505 horsepower Giulia Quadrifoglio super sedan. And now Alfa is embarking on a more difficult journey, fleshing out the full discography with more mainstream versions of the Giulia sedan that have a 4-cylinder engine. Can this enticing upstart make a name for itself among the perennial chart toppers of the intra-luxury sedan world, namely the Audi A4, BMW 3 Series, and Mercedes-Benz class? High's distinctive character drives as fabulously as it looks and vice versa. Low's no manual transmission, some interior oddities, unknown reliability. Sex appeal. What Alfa has gotten right, it's gotten spectacularly right, starting with the Giulia's looks. Although some might take issue with the unusually shaped and iconic front grille, this sedan has a perfectly proportioned body that exudes character on the road. The rear end, especially, is beautifully detailed, with graceful taillights wrapping around the haunches and a tasteful lower valance with dual exhaust tips. Our test car, outfitted with the sport package and 19-inch wheels, looked almost identical to the Quadrifoglio, with an aggressive stance, red brake calipers, and black window surrounds. The Rosso Competizione red paint made it even more distinctive, although $2,200 strikes us as a steep upcharge for that color. The Giulia's dynamics also are spot on, achieving a nearly ideal rider handling balance that picks up where the BMW 3 Series left off one generation ago. It doesn't take much seat time to feel the liveliness of the Alfa's controls, starting with the perfectly weighted steering rack, which is great on center feel, quick turn-in, and, above all, is communicative, with just the right amount of feedback filtered through to the driver. The car moves gracefully on twisty roads. The balanced weight distribution we measured our rear-wheel drive test car's 3,636 pound curb weight at 49.8% front, 50.2% rear, making it easy to get into a rhythm. The only blemish on this fluidity is the wooden, uncommunicative brake-by-wire brake pedal, which can make it difficult to come to a stop smoothly, even if the binders themselves delivered a competitive 163-foot stop from 70 miles per hour. Our test car's wheel and tire package appear to be a recipe for a rough rider, low profile, Biley P0 run flat summer tires good for 0.88 grams on the skid pad wrapped around 19-inch wheels. And yet the ride quality was mostly pleasant, with only the occasional sharp impact reaching the hushed cabin. Turn the console-mounted DNA switch to D for dynamic and you'll feel increased steering weight and a bit less compliance from the adaptive dampers. Even in this sportier mode, though, there's a button to switch just the dampers back to a softer setting in case you find yourself traversing an especially rough stretch of pavement. Engine room. The Giulia's turbocharged 2.0-litre inline four is less of a standout. Although its 280 horsepower tops that of its closest German rivals, our 0 to 60 mph test result of 5.7 seconds trailed the 252 horsepower Audi A4 by 0.5 seconds and the 248 horsepower BMW 330i by 0.3. Our observed fuel economy numbers of 21 miles per gallon overall and 32 miles per gallon on the highway also lagged the Germans. There's plenty of mid-range grunt to be had in the Alfa, but this 2.0-litre isn't as smooth or as willing to rev as of the Beamer and Audi Turbo 4s. We also were left wishing for more auditory drama from this Italian, although it's possible that the amazing wail of the Giulia Quadrifoglio's 505 horsepower Ferrari-drive V6 was still ringing in our ears. A ZF 8-speed automatic transmission is standard equipment on all U.S. market Giulias. Massive, metal paddle shifters, shared with the Quadrifoglio, are satisfying to use when driving hard, but their size and placement can make it inconvenient to reach the turn signal and wiper stalks. It's also disappointing that such an engaging car lacks a manual transmission option. The 3 Series, the A4, and the Cadillac ATS offer 3-pedal setups, and the Giulia's autumnly lineup strikes us as a missed opportunity to further entice the type of folks, enthusiasts, who could become brand advocates. Inconsistent inside, Alfa Romeo has some ground to cover to catch up to the class-leading interiors from Mercedes-Benz and Audi. The Giulia's dashboard layout is pleasing to look at, with attractive gauges and an infotainment screen that's nicely integrated into the dash. But there are some unsightly and cheap-feeling plastics surrounding the shifter and on the door panels. Other details left us scratching our heads, like the tiny sun visors, the minuscule center console, and the large plastic panel at the base of the center stack that seems like a waste of space given that it accommodates only a single USB port. At least Alfa sweated over the supportive front seats with adjustable bolsters and thigh supports, and also the thin-rimmed, flat-bottom steering wheel. It's a joy to hold. Rear seat room is about average for this class, being more accommodating than the Jaguar X and the ATS but less spacious than the commodious 3 Series and A4. Easy to fold rear seatbacks with a useful 402,040 split add a measure of practicality. With a sticker of $51,990, our well-equipped, rear-wheel drive Giulia T fell right in line with the pricing of its German competition. Remove the few options we could do without, including the aforementioned $2,200 red paint, the panoramic sunroof for $1,350, and the Harman Kardon audio system for $900, and you end up well under $50,000. Our test car's other options, including the $2,250 19-inch sport package, the $1,200 performance package with a limit-slip differential, adaptive dampers, and aluminium paddle shifters, $950 for an 8.8-inch infotainment screen with navigation, and a pair of active Safety packages for a total of $2,150, seemed worth the cost for what they add to the Giulia's appeal. Holding up by now, you're probably wondering about the Giulia's build quality, long a pain in the side of all Italian cars. Our test car definitely had a few foibles, including a sunroof that called it quits and a Bluetooth system that had trouble maintaining a consistent connection with a headphone, and we had the car for only a week. Long-term durability remains a big question mark, and Alfa's reputation doesn't instill much confidence. This early on in Alfa Romeo's revived career, then, it's hard to call the Giulia a star. But what Alfa's album might lack in production quality, it makes up for with its enthralling, lively, and distinctive character. Whether you're talking about the slam-dunk design or the fabulous handling, the Giulia has piqued our interest, and we listening attentively.